European philosopher, social philosopher, Earth is not a platform for human life. It's a living being. We're not on it, but part of it, its health is our health. Social comment and practical. Oh, this is interesting. I believe this is, if the technology works, this is a little video. And this lady is telling a story. She's a good storyteller. And she's telling the story of stuff. And the perspective is from the US, as I recall, after World War II, the economist of the United States, Victor Lebeau, gave a direction for the development of the economy of America. Ramp up the economy by making every religious festival, everything, something that's a celebration of more stuff. And the result of more stuff was exploitation of the earth. And there's statistics we'll see shortly. The United States alone uses resources that if everyone in the world used the resources like the United States, we'd need 7 Earths. Excessive exploitation of resources, especially the non-renewable ones. There's some that are renewable, and some are non-renewable. Anyway, she's going to tell a story of stuff.
Okay, so let's see what else is missing from this picture. We'll start with extraction, which is a fancy word for natural resource exploitation, which is a fancy word for trashing the planet. What this looks like is we chop down the trees, we blow up mountains to get the metals inside, we use up all the water, and then we wipe out the animals. So here, we are running up against our first limit. We are running out of resources. We are using too much stuff. Now, I know this can be hard to hear, but it's the truth, so we've got to deal with it. In the past few decades alone, 1/3 of the planet's natural resource base has been consumed. Gone. We are cutting and mining and hauling and trashing the place so fast that we're undermining the planet's very ability for people to live here. Where I live, in the United States, we have less than 4% of our original forests left. 40% of the waterways have become undrinkable. And our problem is not just that we're using too much stuff, but we're using more than our share. We have 5% of the world's population, but we're using 30% of the world's resources, and creating 30% of the world's waste. If everybody consumed at US rates, we would need 3 to 5 planets. And you know what? We've only got 1. So my country's response to this limitation is simply to go take somebody else's. This is the third world, which some would say is another word for our stuff that somehow got on somebody else's land. So what does that look like? The same thing, trashing the place. 75% of global fisheries now are fished at or beyond capacity. 80% of the planet's original forests are gone. In the Amazon alone, we're losing 2,000 trees a minute. That is 7 football fields a minute. And what about the people who live here? Well, according to these guys, they don't own these resources. They've been living there for generations. They don't own the means of production. They're not buying a lot of stuff. And in this system, if you don't own or buy a lot of stuff, you don't have the home. So next, the materials move to production. And what happens there is we use energy.
That's it. I mean, she goes on, it's well researched, and she's making the point about respecting Earth, and disrespect of Earth is the exploitation. But when you don't respect someone, carry over from yesterday, then it leads to a toxic or an unwholesome relationship. And it just happens that Earth is the place where we live. So it's a problem. And, one nation and another nation, one group of people, another group of people, they're competing for more stuff. And then the more toys you have, the more successful you are. So it just keeps escalating and escalating and escalating. It's very problematic. Options. This is a phrase that my spiritual teacher used regularly, and that is simple living, high thinking. Simplicity means to find balance in our life by which our mind and body are in the most optimum condition. So exploitation isn't an optimum condition. It's not sustainable either, short-term or long-term. Here's a section from the Bhagavad Gita. Some of you had a copy of Bhagavad Gita given to you yesterday. We have encumbered our civilization in such a way that we have lost simple living. Therefore, we have neglected spiritual life. Thus, there's no peace. If you want a peaceful life, then you should simplify your material necessities and engage your time for spiritual cultivation. Then you'll have peace. That is the best type of civilization. Plain living, high thinking. Now, in the modern days, high living and plain thinking. Eating, sleeping, mating. This is plain thinking. This thinking is also in the animals. The position of higher consciousness has a few blocks. One of the blocks for higher consciousness is overconsumption, over-demand for, we'll use the word stuff, that bringing my senses in contact with stuff equals happiness, because we want happiness. So, according to Bhagavad Gita, happiness, yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate. It's a Sanskrit verse from Bhagavad Gita. Many people consider happiness to bring senses in contact with objects of the senses equals happiness. According to Bhagavad Gita, that intention doesn't bring happiness, it brings frustration or dissatisfaction. It doesn't match your expectations, and so you're frustrated. When people get frustrated, that leads to other kinds of negative emotions like aggression, anger, exploitation, and other harmful emotions, and so it's not nice, not a nice place. What's the alternative? Simplified. Now, a key word here is necessities. Simplify material necessities. Necessities are necessities. Fantastic. Meet your needs. And as you progress in life, simplify what those needs are. Let's say it two ways. When there's satisfaction within, I don't need so much. When there isn't satisfaction within, my sense of what I need is like a balloon. It just grows, and when is enough enough? Never enough. You get the enough, and then it's more and more. That's when there's the absence of satisfaction within. It's another concept in Bhagavad Gita, satisfaction within. I'm pausing because my mind is going to Bhagavad Gita verses. And I don't know if I should just say the Bhagavad Gita verse, because it may be like intimidating. I don't want to intimidate, but it's just a principle. The principle is when there's satisfaction, is param drishtva, higher taste. When there's higher taste, there's a satisfaction within. And on the outside, I need this, I need that, the other thing, and the other thing, and then I can be peaceful. This is not the formula for peaceful, it's a formula for agitation. But if there's a contentment within, the sense of what I feel my needs are, is simplified. It's not zero, it's necessities, but simplified. And that's harmonious living, because then I also respect other persons have their necessities, so I don't steal their necessities. I respect they have their necessities. If there's respect, is the topic. Respect for life of others as long with myself. So over on the right side, life is beautiful, but it's complicated. And it's complicated because there's expectations that happiness is something out there. I just have to get some of it, or get more of it, or more varieties of it, and then I'm happy. But it's not like that. It gets complicated. 3 bad habits that destroy the earth and our peace and sanity. So this is a teaching, and with nature, that's our topic for today, that leads to that mutual respect. It's a little cartoon. That's the moon up there, and that's the earth down here, and the earth looks like in his t-shirt says, "I'm with stupid." Since the topic is respecting others and respecting the earth, what are some of the challenges? Okay, this is our discussion section. 2 challenges in offering genuine respect to Mother Earth. Maybe you don't have any, but in case person you're going to speak with us, you can share with one another. We'll take 3-4 minutes. When you're ready, go ahead.
Disposable utensils, like the plates, the forks, and spoons.
I don't follow what you're saying.
No, as in one of the ladies
Said
insisted that we should not use disposable utensils, like paper plates, for prashadam.
here.
Yeah. And so she insisted that she's going to bring all reusable,
Reusable stuff.
and she insisted us on using it. So I told her that we don't have the facility to wash the utensils, and we don't have time for people to do that too. So that's my stand, that we are not using reusable because of that. But she was a bit offended. And so I think she might bring up this topic.
Okay.
In this situation, to insist us on using, being sustainable. So,
Okay. That's it.
so
Okay.
maybe you can touch on this topic a little bit.
I'll let her bring it up.
Okay. Because she's pressing on us really hard.
Think she does what?
She's pressing on us really hard.
She's upset.
Yes.
Okay.
And she brought all plates and stuff
Okay.
us to you.
What would be this lady's solution for clean? Taking that reusable, maybe just put it in a box and she can take it home and
That's what she
clean it at home. That was her idea.
But we're serving 3 meals. We're serving 3 different meals, so it's either she bring
So maybe one of those 3 meals can be her reusable.
but we're still using disposable.
But the other 2 meals disposable, but the one that she can take and wash at her place or whatever. If she can figure out between now and the next meal where she can take and have it ready for the third meal, we can use it for 2 meals. So we can't reuse something that's not clean.
So there is always a risk that people don't clean it well because we don't have a good place.
But that's her problem. And if we had a solution, we would be doing it. I can tell you exactly what she's saying is a plan for a festival that we're having in our Naperville Center, and we're using reusable metal plates, metal everything, metal utensils, and it's going to be there's a place to clean it. It's to save money, but it's also practical. It's in keeping with this. So it's both.
So people are bringing forth the plates to wash.
There's a place, this is at our Naperville Center. There's a place they can take them, they can do their own cleaning and then keep it for the next meal, or someone can clean it for them so they can take from the supply. We're going to be their servants, but we want to use reusable rather than disposable. In principle, it's not like we have to. We want to do it. But it has to be practical. Just tossing aside any consideration of cleanliness, I suggest that everyone keeps their plates and use it for the next meal. I'm sorry, that's not hygiene. You don't brush your teeth once a week.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay. Finish up. 1 more minute. Finish up. Okay. Wind it down. We're going to move on to our next activity. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. Hold your horses. We're going to move on to our activity. It's nice you're like real engaged. It's a good topic, right? good topic. Okay. Now, if those of you that want to see the whole, I've seen this story of stuff at least 10 times. It's full of information, and it's, straight to home of how we can live our lives a little differently than what we've been doing. Now, though, or it's a trailer. So one of the mothers was Earth. Another one of the mothers, according to Vedic conception, is the cow, because commonly people take cow's milk when they're little. So the cow is like the mother. I hope it works.
Do you think there should be any concern of us making this documentary?
Of course. If you don't realize right now that you're putting your neck on the chopping block, you better take that camera and say, it's an environmental disaster that's being ignored by the very people who should be championing it. There's something a fundamental problem here no one wants to talk about, because they're membership organizations. They're looking to maximize the contribution.
Leading cause of environmental degradation is
Need to address that as well.
It's not up to the Department of Resources. Part of it's part of what one say.
I don't necessarily know what
There's destruction of information that they were about.
it starts at the local level, but then it goes all the way to Congress.
Consider the devastation of habitat plains and world creations.
We're in the middle of the largest mass extinction of species in 65 million years.
They can dictate the federal policies because they have so much political power.
We're one of the largest industries on the planet with the biggest environmental impact, trying to keep us in the dark. That's offering. That's the one thing no one thinks about. Everybody's going about it.
Project. We have to be
You're going up against people that have massive legal resources. They have nothing.
A lot of people just keep their mouth shut because they don't want to be the next one with the military. I don't know that I want to comment on.
Now, this little video clip was put together by people who want accountability for global warming and animal agriculture. So, the single most effective way to drastically improve the Earth situation, this is a documentary saying it's reduce or eliminate animal agriculture. We already saw that one. Ecological factors, farmland being reduced. Vegetarian diet requires only about 10% of agricultural land compared to a meat-based diet. Environmental defense. If every American skipped one meal of chicken per week and substituted vegetarian foods instead, carbon dioxide savings would be the same as taking more than 500,000 cars off U.S. roads. You clear? Just changing of diet. There's a lot of, the air pollution from transportation cars, etc., etc. Another, University of Chicago reports that going vegan is 50% more effective than switching to a hybrid car. 50% more effective to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. While it takes only 25 gallons of water to produce a pound of wheat, it takes, let's see, 100 times gallons of water to produce a pound of meat, etc. So the diet has a big effect. Then there's a spiritual principle. That's the verse of Bhagavad Gita is here. And this is speaking about this fellow over here who is able to see with equal vision. The Sanskrit word is sama, means equal, same, darshana, equal vision. So there's differences between a cow, a dog eater, an elephant, and a learned Brahmin. There's psychophysical differences, but the soul within, this is a spiritual perspective, the soul within is the same. The dress or the covering, the things I've been appreciating about Singapore, there's lots of diversity between people from different backgrounds of birth, lots of diversity. But then at the same time, from a spiritual perspective, there's a sameness about the spirit soul, and not just human beings, but everything, all forms of life. And that's one of the topics for this session, is respecting earth and respecting one another. But there has to be a basis for it. Now this is the original Ronald McDonald when they started promoting hamburgers. And he's lamenting, I brainwashed youngsters into doing wrong. I want to say sorry to children everywhere for selling out to concerns who make millions by murdering animals. Yoga, now we're going to yoga practice. And one of our topics, of course, is respect, the sanctity of one's body, the sanctity of others' bodies, the sanctity of animals' bodies, and the sanctity of the resources of nature. And you can't, the letters are not so clear. Avoid intoxication. It's just a cycle that keeps moving and moving. Gambling, intoxication. What does it say? Illicit relations, okay. Avoid consumption of meat. So those are 4 principles. The reason for presenting this is, it's a yoga principle. Those who are followers of yoga, acknowledge the merit of this platform of simplicity. So these 4 in the center have some correlation with respecting each of the 4 things on the outside. Should I go over it? I think it's clear. Avoid intoxication. Avoid illicit relationships. Avoid consumption of meat. And avoid gambling. So we just did this. Okay. Now we're going further into yoga. Yoga is the personalism of bhakti. Because yoga, literally, yoga means linking, connecting with something. Connecting, you can, in very general language, a place of higher consciousness. From the lower to the place of higher consciousness, and making that connection. And there's physical yoga, there's meditational yoga, there's intellectual yoga, Gyan yoga, and there's bhakti yoga. And these different categories of yoga are compared to a ladder And one rung, next rung, next rung, next rung. They're all leading to personalism. Bhakti Yoga, so that this is in your Bhagavad Gita that you received yesterday. If you didn't get one, we'll give you one today. That sees the Supreme as a person. And the universe is a manifestation of the source, who is a person. And everything in the universe has a personal touch because of the connection with the source. The personal view involves respect of each of these sequences in natural consequence. And instead of seeing something as a person, we can see something as an object, like the story of stuff, something that is available for exploitation. When personhood is neglected, all living entities are objectified to resources. It is easy to exploit resources. People, animals, natural resources. When we personalize animals as pets, it's atrocious to consider them as food. When we objectify them with animal farming, slaughtering is easy. Similarly, soldiers at war depersonalize or objectify their enemies to be effective in violence. I mean, it's simple principles. Simple principles. Personalism fosters respect. That's in the lower right corner. And you can say impersonalism or objectification fosters lack of respect or disrespect. Here's a story. That's my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, who gave the translation and commentary from Bhagavad Gita that you received. And there's a little story where there are some ants that were crawling on the plate, and he didn't brush them aside. He provided them with something off his plate so they could have something to eat too, because there was more than he was going to eat anyways. But, respecting life. Many of you may know St. Francis of Assisi. There's lots of stories of his respecting life. Here's one of his poems. My sister birds, you owe much to God, and you must always and in every place give praise to him, for he has given you freedom to wing it through the sky, and he has clothed you. Praised be you, my Lord, with all your creatures, especially Sir, Brother, Sun, who is the day through whom you bring us light. Praised be you, my Lord, through Brother Wind, through air and cloud, through calm and every weather by which you sustain your creatures. Praised be you through Sister Water. Praised be you through Brother Fire. Praised be you through our sister Mother Earth, who sustains us and directs us. He is a celebrated nature lover. And the nature love has everything to do, his nature love has everything to do with who's behind it. The personalism of nature, because behind nature there's this supreme person. Now here's a nice drawing. We saw the verse already. Here's a realized person that is able to see the sameness of the Supreme that's up on the upper port within the heart of every living entity. So whether it's a dog or the duck, whatever that creature is down there, some creature. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees all beings in me, every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. Now this higher consciousness yoga principle, but yoga principle when step by step by step, that's where the train is going. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Now, that's quite a contrast from trashing the planet. So how do we go from trashing the planet or exploiting the resources of nature and all of this other stuff to respecting nature? It has everything to do with seeing nature in connection with the source and personalizing nature and the source behind nature. Various initiatives such as recycling, animal protection societies, air or water pollution activism, alternative energy, they're great, but they're not doing the whole job. To truly respect Earth and the life on it, we need a change of consciousness. The Global Consciousness Project has led researchers to conclude that it is highly likely that the ordered mind is somehow reflected in the physical world. It appears that the global consciousness moves, so does matter. It's easy. It's true. Imbibing the practice of Bhakti Yoga awakens the sense of respect, sense of control, that's self and sense control, responsibility, and inner satisfaction. Ultimately, this change in consciousness can transform the world. Almost done. This is a verse from the Upanishads. Anybody here a little bit familiar with the Upanishads? It's due to not seeing the connection of all things with its source or the complete whole. Or the sense of completeness is seeing the connection of all things with their source. Now that's higher consciousness. And it's not just a mental adjustment, it's a matter of gradually becoming purified within, so that happiness is not looking for stuff outside and bring the senses to stuff outside and configure it right, and that equals happiness, because it's not how happiness comes. There's a buzz when senses contact sense objects, but it's quite temporary and quite limited, and as time passes, poof, it's gone. The sense and the sense object is gone. So it's not what real happiness is or real satisfaction is. So the sense of incompleteness is operating on that principle. Say simpler, material consciousness doesn't allow one to experience a sense of completeness. There's always something missing. Always. And then the something missing may be, I got to get more, or a different variety of stuff. It goes on and on. So, what's that thing that's missing? And that's, the source of all things, and making the personal connection with the source of all things. And I think this is a video. I'm not sure. Oh yeah. There's some in Hungary. It's one of the countries in Eastern Europe. They made a commitment that they wanted a farm that was eco-friendly. They call it the eco farm, ecology-friendly farm. And yeah, it's a video. So simple living, high thinking. We're going to hear, hopefully, someone narrating what the concept was and how the concept grew. It's a whole community. It's like several hundred people living together.
És emelkedett kontinentén 1900 nyilvános határában Krisna völgy indiai kultúrás Az ide települő fiatalok fokozatosan tanulták meg, hogyan élhetnek harmóniában önmagukkal, embertársaikkal és a természeti környezettel. Az egészséges életmód, a biogazdálkodás, valamint a megújuló
Elsősorban a környezettudatos gondolkodás három szinten igyekszünk megvalósítani, az egyén, a közösség és a természet szintjén. Az egyének szintjén a testi-lelki harmóniára és az egészséges életre törekszünk, amelyek része a vegetáriánus táplálkozás mellett a jóga és a meditáció, egyfajta harmonikus életvitelnek a kialakítása, aminek sokat fektetünk az emberi kapcsolatainknak, például a baráti, családi kapcsolatoknak az ápolására is. Közösségi szinten arra törekszünk, hogy mindenki olyan tevékenységeket végezzen, ami a természetének legjobban megfelel, aminek a végzése során örömet, boldogságot tapasztalhatnak az egyének igazából hatékony tagjai a társadalomnak.
Okay. The narrator is speaking in Hungarian. Probably nobody in the room speaks Hungarian. And he speaks very fast, so you can't, to read the subtitle in English is a little difficult. So I'm just going to go on to the next slide. But it's a very serious project. It's been going on for maybe 30 years, and it's growing. Hungary in Eastern Europe is one of those countries that's called the breadbasket for decades and decades and decades. They produce grains and the sustenance for much of Europe and Eastern Europe and much of Europe. So it's indigenous to the country, and you add that indigenous tendency to a spiritual lifestyle, and it was easy to grow it. As you saw, they plow the field not with machines. As far as I know, they don't have electricity on the whole place. They have lots of diversity, but no electricity. So it's natural energy powered, wind power and solar power and that kind of thing. And they're very, I visited there. I don't speak Hungarian, but they're very happy. And it's largely families. It's not just guys like, the monks like me. There are some, but it's, family-based in schools and this and that and the other thing. They have the whole structure that the government overseas so that they're doing the education for their children, what's supposed to be happening, so they can take formal exams periodically and see that they're meeting education standards. In other words, it's a real lifestyle that's based on this principle of simple living. And to just talk about it, they live it. And it's a popular community. They build their own homes with solar panels. And so some technology is used, like solar panels, but very simple lifestyle. And they're very happy. You can see, from the video, but also from visiting there, there's something inside, there's contentment inside. And because there's the contentment inside, and it's a natural fit for Hungary to live agrarian-based life, it's a beautiful community. As it says here, rather than exploiting the environment. It's the principle. They talk and they walk their talk. They live by it. It's nice. It's really nice. We touched on this topic already, personalism versus objectification. Here's a discussion opportunity again. This group is good with discussions. So here's the topic. Key takeaways from this session: 2, is society progressing towards personalism or objectification? What are some examples? Is it clear? You have your nice groups. Go to it. And this is our last slide, so this is it. Okay. They're into talking inside anyways. Oh yeah, the eating area. Oh, right. We're ready to wind up. Oh, discussion groups. Please end your discussion. Please end your discussion. Thank you very much. Okay, everybody. Have them cool it. Okay. Now we have 12 minutes. Is that right? Who is our timekeeper? Yes, 12 minutes. Anybody wants to discuss something, especially in relation to respect of others and respect of Earth? Especially. But if there's other things you want to discuss, that's nice too. Not everybody all at once. Okay.
Well, no, okay. So to give you some context, right? I am myself a weed practitioner, a zero waste practitioner. Many years ago, I met with my children drawing big snake association.
She's loud.
I'm a trainer. Big, huge, big passive climate brand. Okay. So my message to you is today is respect for human life, which is ourselves, all the animals around us. So I am a firm believer in that. Okay. So as hard as my message is to, because we want to do a good thing, just the powers that be are controlling our access to information. So I ask that you please listen to me with open heart and mind, okay? Because I came to this conclusion myself. My husband always said, climate right, climate change is a farce. I was like, you are crazy. I'm now on the other side. And I'm trying to deliver the message. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just saying like this, okay? Global warming, climate change. There's been people, not listen to me, there's been scientists who work in this field who basically speak up and say no.
How long are you going to go for?
Fine. 3 minutes. You want to give me 3 minutes? Okay, so they say no. So what is it about? Global warming and climate change, if they say no, it's basically for us to give up our rights. For us to give up our rights to art. And Bill Gates has said recently this week that's because he wants to vaccine all cows. Vaccine all cows. So the cows will, you get rid of the cows, get rid of the cow, they want to be the meat, we're going to be land more meat and cockroach. We're going to drink, they want to drink cockroach milk. Here we were talking about not getting pasteurized milk, and they say this is cockroach milk. Singapore is the first country in the world to approve that for meat. First country in the world to approve that for meat. So I'm not talking about some conspiracy. Okay, so this conspiracy is a diversion, misinformation for us. Bigger conspiracy to suffer, and then it's really no respect. If you want to know more, you can go to the structure of softball control. The world domination and being executed as we speak. I don't want to know. I'm going to live my life